Hello friends, welcome back to the fourth week of this online faculty development program on communication skills and personality development organized by Department of Electronics and Telecommunication, Government Polytechnic, Hingoli, Maharashtra. I, Dr. Utpal Ganatra, have already completed a session on building an impactful personality. Now let us have another session on understanding your personality type. In this presentation, I am going to talk about the role of personality types, the Big Five model, ABCD personality theory, and finally, how we can bring harmony to our workplace. Well, everybody of us is well aware that we have diversity at workplace. Our workplace consists of a unique set of personalities because there may be people from various backgrounds having various thoughts, having different attitudes, mindsets and beliefs as well. So we need to understand that diversity at workplace is something which was there, which is there and which is going to be there always. So have you ever wondered among this diversity and among the various kinds of people, various staff members, you work quite well with some people, but not with others. The answer perhaps lies in your personality type. So, if we get to know our personality types, we will perhaps be able to how and why we behave in some way or the other with all people. So, let us discuss a model on personality. The first model that I am going to discuss is titled the 5-factor model. It is also known as the Big Five model. On the basis of the 5 criteria, the 5 parameters, 5 categories which have been covered in this model, an acronym OCEAN has been created which stands for 5 different qualities which I will elaborate in the further time. So these are the 5 major trait categories and each of these 5 categories represents a continuum. All of us fall somewhere on this continuum. All these 5 parameters, it is said that they are relatively stable throughout our life. They also have an impact on our life, on our education, on our workplace and on our health. So they are very much important. So let us elaborate them one by one. The first parameter is openness. There are two sorts of people. People who belong to this closedness side. Such kind of people are more closed. They are rigid in approaching new experiences in life. On the other hand, there are people who belong to this openness extreme. So they are more receptive in nature. They are highly interested in experiencing new things. They are, of course, imaginative, curious, and creative. Another parameter is conscientiousness. There are two different sorts of people which are discussed here. On the left hand side, as you can see, people who score lower in this parameter have lack of direction. They just think about big pictures. They take little or no interest in the details of how things get done. Well, on the other hand, people who score high in this parameter pay attention to detail. They tend to get things done in a proper way on proper time. They are habitual to follow rules and also have a good work ethic. They are additionally diligent and dutiful. The third parameter is extraversion. People who score lower in this parameter are introvert by nature. We know that we all have colleagues like this who prefer working alone because they act on the basis of the reflection. They don't tend to mix up with other people as such. On the other hand, there are people who are extrovert by nature. We call them extroverts. Such type of people socialize and spend time with others. They act on the basis of interaction with others. You will scarcely find them alone, sitting alone or doing something alone. They are usually found in groups or in pairs. The next parameter is agreeableness. See, people who score lower in this parameter are antagonist by nature. That means they may be hostile or rude in their behavior. They may be more suspicious or oppositional by nature, and they try to force their own ways on others. On the other hand, people who are agreeable, that means they are friendly, they are more trusting and modest, they quite adjust to others, and by nature they are warm, kind, and cooperative. The fifth and the last criteria which is discussed in this model is neuroticism. Well, neuroticism stands for neuroticness. That means people who are not emotionally stable. As you can see on the right side, people who score higher on this side, they are highly neurotic, they are less stable, and they tend to be frequently negative whenever they face such experiences in life. On the other hand, there are people who are having good kind of emotional stability. Such people are more calm and pleasant. They also are more emotionally stable, and they usually are resistant to stress. Well, why am I discussing all these five parameters? Because we all need to think about where we are. See, it doesn't mean that you fall on the extreme of any one side only. All of us may have some characteristics from both the parameters, both the sides. So it is up to you to decide where you are, and also think about in what areas, in what qualities, in what parameters you need to bring some changes in your personality. Let us discuss one interesting model, which is ABCD personality types. This model specifically focuses on the various kinds of people and personalities which are found at the workplace. As you can see, there are four types, type A, B, C, D, and all four of them represent different kinds of people. Type A includes people who are like the director. That means they can direct others, they can take leadership roles. Type B people, they are socializers. They tend to work by mixing with others. They are social in nature. Type C, this includes people who are thinkers. That means they prefer to think alone, they prefer to work in their own ways. And type D, which includes most of the people in an organization, are the supporters, who usually don't express themselves too much, but then it is just because of them that the organization walks well on, it keeps on a steady pace of progress. So let us discuss one by one. The first type, that is the director. Well, as I already said, such types of people are leaders by nature. So they usually take charge when the opportunity arises. They are goal oriented. They get tasks done as quickly as possible. And that is why they are perhaps made leaders or managers in a team. They keep everyone organized to ensure success. They also make sure that the team meets deadlines. They are able to work well as managers and team leaders. They are usually more comfortable with stressful situations because time and again they are habitual to face such kind of situations as leaders. They function very effectively during a serious time crunch. So we use words like leadership crisis. So whenever such a situation arises, such kinds of people come forward and are ready to perform any difficult task. But then a coin has always two sides. So everybody who is having some strengths might also have some weaknesses. So the weaknesses of such kinds of people are this. I call them areas of improvement, not weaknesses. Such people may be too much focused on goals, and that probably leads to one more area where they need to improve. They also have unrealistic expectations. As leaders, they expect everyone to work well and perform excellently. So they may be over ambitious in terms of productivity. They may be also impatient as far as goals are concerned. They may not be, see, it happens sometimes in every organization. There are some leaders, there are some managers who may not be qualified to lead in every scenario. But the drawback of such kinds of people is that they are not willing to compromise control in the workplace, even if someone else is better suited to do their jobs. That means there are better replacements available. There are people who can take their role, but then they are not ready to give up their chair. They are not ready to give up their position. So that is the area where they need to reflect and improve. So if you think you belong to such parameter, if you think you belong to this category, this type A, you need to follow these certain things. You need to delegate tasks. See, as a leader, it is very much important that you delegate tasks, because just being a leader and instructing people to do this and do that doesn't work. You need to delegate tasks in a proper manner. Another thing that you should keep in mind is you also need to pay attention to expert opinions. As leaders or as managers, you might have a long experience, but then taking opinions from other people always helps in making a good decision. So you need to learn that also. You should learn listening to and working with team members. You may be excellent as a leader, but see, teamwork always has its own benefits. So please learn to work with team members and also recognize that everybody cannot work well under stress. There are some people who like to work in a very cool manner, in a very patient manner. So please allow those people to work in their own way. Let us move ahead. Another area, another type is type B, that is the socializer. As you can interpret from the picture itself, such kind of people are found in every organizations. They get along well with everyone. They are enthusiastic and emotionally intelligent. They work well as the social glue which holds the entire office together. There are people in every organization who do their best to keep everyone connected. They try to build positive work relationships. They keep morale high during long term projects when there are some crises, when there are some situations which may give birth to negativity in everyone's minds. These are the people who try to make everyone positive and try to keep the team morale very high. Because of them, the workplace becomes more productive and more welcoming. So when such people are usually, involved in some other task, or they are not present in the office, you feel some vacuum, because these kinds of people keep on encouraging quiet members to make contributions. That's a very good strength of these people. They try to prevent hostile and high stress environments through their guts and also through their experience. If we talk about the areas of improvement of this type, they may be disorganized. See, it's very good to become very positive, it's very good to become more social, it's very good to become more optimistic and social, but at the same time, people need to remember that they should not lack focus on important goals, because being social every time doesn't help. You need to focus on important goals also. So such people usually focus too much on socialization and fostering a positive work environment that sometimes it may affect their own productivity. Well, if you are among such kinds of people, you need to follow certain things. You should try to make work routine more structured rather than haphazard in nature, because as I said, being social and relying on people doesn't work always. You need to yourself stay on the track of work. And finally, you should also, it's good that you are social by nature, but then make sure that you meet all the deadlines, because sometimes remaining too much friendly on the workplace or working in a very informal manner pays you a big deal in the longer run. Another and the third type is type C, that is the thinker, and such kinds of people are perhaps scarce in quantity, but then they are very much important at the workplace, because they are usually the ones who are the brains behind most operations. The quality of such kind of people is very special, and that quality is that they dissect problems from every angle. Usually all people cannot do it, but then the people who belong to this category, they dissect problems from every angle. And since they are highly detail oriented, they see every detail which perhaps somebody else might miss. So they try to approach and solve problems as logically as possible without being too much emotional. They try to think in logical terms. They also provide and help others to come up with innovative ideas and solutions. And that is why perhaps they are also known as think tanks. They usually propose proactive fixes for potential problems before they even arise. So they are future oriented in nature. They save the team more work down the line. So while they are working in isolation, or when they are thinking about something, we might feel that this fellow is taking too much time, but usually it is to the advantage of the entire team, because it works more work in the future. Well, the areas of improvement of such types of people are, as I've already mentioned, at times such kinds of people may overthink. And if they are left to their own devices, if people keep on waiting for them, They may take more time because they are slow to take action sometimes. So the another issue that people face with such kinds of people, the I can say drawback of these people is they are so much detail oriented, they it sometimes impacts the entire performance. So that also impacts harmony of the entire workplace sometimes. So if you feel that you are having some of the qualities of such types of people, type C, then you need to understand that desire for perfection is good, but it can sometimes be an enemy for you and the workplace. You also need to remember that existing processes can always be improved. It's good that you are trying to bring an approach of professionalism, be professional and make everything perfect. But then you need to remember that things can always be improved. You also need to think about one thing, that you can always complete tasks more efficiently. So the next time when you feel that, oh, this can still be improved, keep in mind the limitations of time and place. And finally, you should also think that spending all time in preparation results in actually less work. uh, let us go ahead. Type D, that is the last type of the four, it includes people who belong to it talks about the people who are supporter by nature. As you can see the pictures, there are people who keep on supporting the workplace by working silently, but the strengths of these people are not worth missing, because these people are the most cautious. They take action slowly, but then they are very cautious by nature. They look into everything. They keep the team in check. They focus on the little tasks rather than big picture goals. So they may not be ambitious, but then that does not mean that they are not working. They are working on very little details. They move the project as a whole towards the finish line. So the contribution of such types of people is often ignored, but then their contribution is really fantastic. They act as the voice of reason and stability. It is just because of them that the organization keeps on progressing on a slow and steady pace. They are reliable to keep up a steady pace, and that's why they are very important. Their contribution is very much important in any organization. As far as their areas of improvement are concerned, we may find that such types of people who are supporters by nature, they may be unwilling to take necessary risks because they are too much silent. They are too much. They are not that much expressive. They don't work. They don't like to speak much. But then they may be unwilling to take necessary risks at times. So they may also lack the assertiveness to express their point of view. You may be extraordinary in your work, but you should also be assertive sometimes and express your point of view firmly. So, but this is what these kinds of people may lack. And finally, if you think that you belong to this category, you should keep mind open to out of the box solutions instead of working in the same old traditional way. You should also change the way of doing things to improve productivity. See, usually what happens with every one of us is that we have been working in a particular typical manner for the last many years, and we think that this is the only way to get things done. But you also need to keep in mind that there are always new ways of doing things, and you should also accept suggestions from your colleagues and try to improve your productivity. And you should not worry much. You should have guts to speak might comfortably. So when next time when the opportunity arises and when you are supposed to express your point of view or opinion, make sure that you speak it confidently and share it without worrying too much. Okay, well, on the basis of the discussion of both the models, now you may be a bit puzzled and think, but now what? Having a good understanding about such types of people and all parameters and on all qualities of such types of people, now what? Now what are we supposed to do? Well, on the basis of this discussion, now I need to remind you that we have need for harmony in our workplace. So sometimes we feel that these types of people are not desirable, or it is just because of these types of people that the organization is not progressing. But my dear teacher friends, I am one of you, so please believe me, no single personality type is ideal for the workplace, because every personality type contributes something different. And it is the diversity of a personality at a workplace that it is a key component for a successful team. Likewise, let us take an analogy of cricket team. See, if there are only batsmen, I think a team cannot perform well, because a team needs all kinds of players, good batsmen, good bowlers, good fielders, good strategy makers, and good leaders, and so on. So we need to respect the diversity of people at our place, and also remember that a healthy mix of strengths and weaknesses can do wonders. Now, what is your role into all of this? First of all, you need to understand yourself after going through all these categories. You should find your strengths and weaknesses. Please try to think about what type you fit into, and then be aware of how you interact with others, people who belong to different criteria, people who belong to different types, and try to understand why you react the way you do to different situations. There may be different situations in our institute. It may be a good situation, it may be a dangerous situation, it may be a threatful situation. But see, people of various types react in a different way. So try to understand your reaction every time and think about how and why you react in the same way always. You should reflect upon how you fit and your optimal role in your institute. Think about what your personality type is, and think about how you can be productive to the maximum extent, and also contribute in a maximum way to your institute. Also try to understand your colleagues. By going through various personality types, I think you are now in a position to understand your colleagues' strengths and weaknesses. So once you do that, you should try to observe their qualities, and you should also adapt your style to others, to your colleagues, so that you can learn to respect those who differ from you. See, it is very much important to work well with colleagues, and you need to learn to respect their opinions and their stands as well. And finally, you should try to work more successfully with them by resolving the probable conflicts and another situations in which you might face some problems. If you are a head, principal, a leader, an in charge principal, or having some leadership role, please understand that on the basis of these personality types, you should motivate your subordinates and staff members. You should try to understand their personality type, because as a leader, what the mistake that most of the leaders make is they keep on having the same strategy with every person. But see, your communication style, your way of approaching colleagues has to differ, because it matters a lot in the longer run. So you should understand the personality types of the people in your organization who are working under you, and motivate all of them whenever situation demands. If possible, whenever you are devising some plan, or whenever you are forming some committees or making some groups for certain tasks to be carried out, please try to put people in positions where they are sure to succeed. Because what happens is, when you form a committee, when you form a group and include the same type of people in that committee, usually I don't think that will help you much, because you need a balanced group. So please identify the strengths and weaknesses of all types of people in your organization. At times, whenever the need arises, you should try to mentor them to be flexible, and help them whenever needed. The 4 pictures which I have mentioned here say a lot, because we usually confront such types of people in our organization. So I think that will, even if you are not a leader or principal or head, this should help you to decide how and why you should interact in a better manner with others in a wise manner. Finally, if you understand all the personality types, it will help you to a great deal to diffuse the potential conflicts which may arise. Because as the pictures reveal, we have sometimes, due to certain problems, conflicts with our colleagues. But we need to remember that we can avoid conflicts by understanding the 4 personality types. So next time, whenever your colleague is behaving in a different way, don't assume that your colleague is intentionally acting different, because he or she might be different. He or she possesses a altogether different personality type than yours. So he or she may be different, and you need to accept, and you have no choice but to accept it. Next time, when you feel that you are the only one who is working well in a team, or you are the only one who is performing all maximum tasks in your institute or staff, please don't judge that your colleague is not taking interest or not contributing actively, because he or she may be processing, reflecting, and waiting for the right moment, and he or she may be accustomed to work in a different way. So please respect your colleagues, and also have a good amount of control on your mind and thinking process. Uh, Let me use a very interesting analogy towards the end of this presentation. It is as simple as that. There are three kinds of mobiles. The image reflects that there are three kinds of different mobile which use different operating systems. On the left hand side is Android mobile phone. In the middle is Windows phone, which is now not scarce, which is now not available in the market. But even then, and the third one is Apple iPhone. See, there are three kinds of mobile phones in the market. Similarly, there can be different types of people in your organization. Now, if you say that Android is better, or a Windows phone is better, or iPhone is better, that altogether depends on your choice, right? You cannot say the rest two are not good, or you cannot say that the other two are not that much capable, or they are not qualitative, because each of these is unique. Each has its own strengths and weaknesses. So the good and the not good aspects depend on your mindset and how you look at them. So I hope you will keep this in mind whenever you interact with your colleagues next time. Finally, you need to reflect upon, isn't the same true about our personalities? Let us end this discussion with a wake-up call. It says, let your actions determine how others see you. So instead of involving in conflict with others, please think about how you are acting, instead of saying or instead of proving by words that you are this or that. Let your actions determine how others see you. So that is what I had to say in this presentation. Thank you for this, for your wonderful attention and interest in this presentation. I know it was a bit lengthier, but then I am sure it must have given you some tips on how to work well with your colleagues. So thank you very much. See you in the next session. Thank you.